This video is going to demonstrate how you can solve a division problem involving polynomials using algebra or using a symbolic method. Well, you might think to yourself first, what could I multiply negative 4x by in order to end up with negative 12x cubed minus 16x squared plus 4x? If you have difficulty figuring that out in your head, don't worry. I'm going to show you a method that you could use. The best approach is to utilize a distributive property, and we're going to break the numerator down into its individual terms and divide each of those terms by negative 4x. And then we'll put them back together in our simplified answer. So let's take our first term, negative 12x cubed, and we'll divide that by negative 4x. I'm going to use brackets to separate the different terms as I divide them by my divisor. To this first part, I'm going to add whatever I get when I divide negative 16x squared by negative 4x. And finally, my last term, whatever I get when I have 4x divided by negative 4x. Okay, so I've broken this apart. Some of you might be wondering at this point, why have I put a plus sign here when it's clearly negative up above? Well, the sign used to separate the terms in my simplified answer is going to depend on what happens in here. So when I divide a negative 16x squared by a negative 4x, that's going to give me a certain sign that I'll then include afterwards. Just follow along and see what I mean. If I have negative 12x cubed and I divide it by negative 4x, well, let's start with our coefficients. Negative 12 divided by negative 4 gives me a positive 3. X cubed divided by x, well, when you're dividing with the same base, dividing powers with the same base, you subtract the exponents. So 3 minus 1 is going to leave us with x squared. 3 minus 1 is 2. Before I write my sign down, I need to figure out what sign will I get from this operation. Negative divided by negative is positive, so I'll go ahead and put a positive there. 16 divided by 4, that's 4. X squared divided by x, exponent 1, that just leaves me simply with x. All right, before I write anything down, think to myself, what's my sign going to be here? 4x divided by negative 4x. Well, it must end up being a negative, because when you divide by opposite signs, you end up with negative. 4 divided by 4 is simply 1. And x divided by x, well, 1 minus 1 is 0. And as we've learned before, any power with exponent 0 is equal to 1, so I really don't need to show negative 1 multiplied by 1. This is it. Think of the x's as canceling out and leaving you only with the coefficient, which results in a constant term of negative 1. This is your simplified expression.